As councillor, I believe there's more than 3 top priorities for Ward 10, including road repair, winter maintenance, policing, expansion of neighborhoods, and good value for taxes paid, among other things as well, on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I think so, because all the decisions made by council are done in an open forum during city council and or public open committee meetings as well. The transparency sometimes is skewed by what some people think is transparency isn't, but anybody can go to City Hall, get any information that they want. I, in fact, as a regular citizen right now, I've gone and gotten information about different things that anybody can get. So it's very open, and it has to be. I am in favor of building a new stadium, as well as the development that will occur in the Mosaic Stadium site, as well as commercial and residential development, possibly along the Dudney Avenue CP tracks and container units as of today. The cost of upgrading Mosaic Stadium has gone up to about as high as $150 million, and that would all have to be paid by the City of Regina. I'm hearing infrastructure problems within the building itself. I'm not privy to some of that information yet that I've gotten. The new stadium costs will be shared among all the partners, with only a portion directly to the residents of Regina. It's not much different than when you're looking at other facilities that have been purchased and bought across time. We all pay a share, and we don't always use the things. I don't use the field house. I don't use the Lawson, but I'm still paying for it in my city tax dollars. So this could be another thing with many benefits in the near and long-term future. Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with it. Regina is much like many of the other Canadian cities across Canada, and are experiencing an infrastructure problem. I think it was like $1.6 billion in a deficit model that's been looked at across the last 3 to 5 years. Dedicating 1% to addressing infrastructure problems is a sound idea and a sound position that should be looked at, because there's only, and again, the only thing that there's a certain amount of things that can be done in a year, weather permitting, staff permitting, contractors, city employees. There's only so much time allowed to be able to do these types of things. If you had $30 million or $50 million to build and do things, could you have the time to spend it is the other question. So I'm totally for a lot of these things. So yeah, I'm aware of that because of being on council formerly. It's something that needs to be addressed, and there isn't really anybody we've taken a hard line on this too. The large number of employers and employee groups make addressing the challenge even more difficult, because you've got a lot of people retiring that are still getting paid pensions, but that particular group isn't contributing. And how they're going to address it, I'm not an actuary, I'm not a guy with the numbers. We get, and when I was on council, or when I get to be on council, we get thrown the numbers and we get looked at it. We have to rely on other people that have the expertise in the financial world. So, well, personally on that issue, my 6 years on council prior, I was evaluated every day. You know what? I would have people follow me around. I'd have people talking to me. I'd have people phoning me, asking me questions, and it's a daily basis by the residents. And if we're doing a good job, we hear about it. Are we really? Actually, when we do a good job, we don't hear about it. When we're not doing a good job, then we hear about it. But every 3 to 4, well, now it'll be 4 years, every election, we are evaluated by the residents of the ward, and also input and output put out by the rest of the city. And again, the election day determines how good of a job you've done. Yeah, there's a housing crisis, and it depends on where you're looking. But in the sector that's lower in the affordable housing, yeah, there's room to build. There's room for expansion. I know the city has already done some infill projects, and they're revamping some of the old school sites into trying to get them into affordable housing. But the rental issue becomes another factor, is can they build enough apartments to factor in to help the affordable housing. I think part of the Regina revitalization is the fact that if Mosaic Stadium is removed and homes are built on that site, I'm hearing numbers of 700 doors could be built into putting some affordable houses in there. The other thing is there was always different talk about what could happen on Dudney Avenue, and whether it be commercial and residential, and whether there be green space, there's a whole concept of things that could add and put in maybe 1,000 houses. So is that a way to address it? Absolutely. They are also in the board and block stages of homes that are not safe for habitat, and haven't been, and maybe been vacant for 5 years. They've been leaning and pushing to have these owners or developers put in new homes, maybe duplexes, so you can get 2 homes on one. It gives the people a sense that they can stay in the area that they want and live in a decent home. So I think that things are starting to come along. It's just the economy's made it really difficult for people. I believe they've done a very good job, and I've been on the Crime Stoppers board now for a while, ever since I've been off council. They've reduced the crime across Canada, but also in Regina it's reduced the crime, but the numbers are still up. There's no doubt about it. RPS has done a great job, and I think one of the big things that's helped the Regina Police Service is when about 4 years ago, they went to a 3rd district and took a north, south, and a central district were created. And they've seen and heard nothing but improvements because the response time is quicker. And again, being president of Crime Stoppers, I've had a chance to work alongside with the chief and a bunch of the different officers involved. And they really feel that the program has worked well, not only to find the tips and to get the tips, but also to make sure they're going in the right direction when they're following things up. There's always an increase in officers on the street. If there's things that can be done better on the corporate side of RPS, which I know they're working on, that might free up some more people to be on the street and add to the better response time. But I really think that the north, south, and central districts have really added, especially Walsh Acres, Ward 10, wherever you want to call it, and it's done wonders because the school resource guys are getting more informed. They're talking to the kids. We've implemented more programs. There's all kinds of different things. Sorry, excuse me. Yes. Yeah, I support publicly owned and city operated facilities. That's part of the reason I'm in favor of the P3 models for the new stadium, which includes the city maintaining the facility with our own employees. There's lots of facilities that are being built across Regina that house the city workers, and it gives them an opportunity. And there's lots of more opportunities coming down the pipe that I think will be good for the city and in the whole country eventually. P3 is public and a private partnership used on large-scale projects. The other thing I like about the P3 in a different facet was the fact that there's a city, provincial, and a federal type of partnership. And if you look back to the building and widening of Victoria Avenue, the digging of Wascana Lake, the Connexus Eventplex, those were all 3 levels of government in a different form of P3. But this is the P3 you guys are referring to here is the public-private. And you know what? I think both can work well. I mean, if you look at snow removal, it's done by the city and it's done by private. It's get the job done is the biggest thing that the Ward 10 residents are looking for in the City of Regina. Yes, I am. The City of Regina crews do a great job of winter road maintenance, especially after a storm. And I know guys that work for the city, and that's their main focus. Snow removal is very expensive, but targeting areas for safety such as school zones and sight lines needs to be done. And I know when I was on council before, we made a suggestion that you retract from the boulevards at least 30, I think it's 30 meters away, so that when you turn lanes and you see traffic coming, those big snow ridges are gone off the boulevards. The use of belly plows was sort of implemented at the same time for shaving and improving residential streets from deep rutting. A lot of the people like that idea because of the fact that if the grader went down there, it would create snow ridges and they couldn't get out. And that was a problem. So the belly plow, I think it's called the belly plow, was brought in, and it just shaves off a rut so that nobody's bottoming out. And not everybody puts winter snow tires on their cars, so you got to help them out. Okay. I think that recycling is everybody's responsibility, and the easier it is made, the more people will do it and will use it. Which is the right or wrong way? I'm not sure. I'm not a recycling fanatic in terms of wanting, and having these things done. But there needs to be something done because the landfills are getting bigger. The approach of I think it's $92 a year versus $40 versus doing it yourself. There's something coming in. So I mean, I can't do anything about that today. Okay. So I don't think decisions on committee appointments should be discussed in an open forum, as it could deter people bringing their names forward due to the Privacy Act. There could be some privacy issues, and then people just won't come and put their names forward. Publishing all of these people's names, I don't know if I would agree with that. I'm not sure I would do it personally if I was wanting to be on the planning committee, as an example. I want to just do my job and help the city out. All the applicants' name on the city website, I'm not sure. That's more of a legal issue, I think, in my opinion, and I think it needs to be addressed. But as the way things are going right now, I'm not sure why this would be a concern. The way it's been going, I think it's been good so far. I think, again, the library board should be chosen by the people that the residents of Regina elected to represent them at City Hall. You bring that point up, or the question has been brought up that way, then what's next? Then what's next? Then what's next? I mean, you're taking away responsibilities that you've elected people to make decisions for you. And part of my thing is, you know what, there are some times as a councillor, and I know this because I've had to do it, there's certain times you have to draw a hard line and say, I'm sorry, but this is the way it is. You've elected me to do my job and to make my decisions. Let me make my decisions. Argue with me, you know, go against me, do whatever you want, but these are things that you've elected us as councillors to do. And that's that.